Let's see what's going on with people in the audience. We're going to go to the phones at 617-830-4750. Let's start with our caller from the 443 area code. Caller from 443, who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, David Pakman. My name is Eric. I'm calling from Baltimore, Maryland. How you doing, bud?
Hey, Eric. Good. How are you?
Good, good, good. I was just calling about the whole Russia thing. I think really that it's time to let go of this whole Russia thing because even the Democrat, like the leadership in the Democrat Party in Congress and Senate, has completely shifted from Russian collusion to sorry, a truck's going by, from Russian collusion to obstruction of justice. And I really do think it's just time for the Democrats to just move on and, just try to beat Trump at the ballot box instead of just trying to get him out of office.
Well, listen, Eric, I mean, I think you're right that either way, the fastest removal of Trump is going to happen by voting him out in November of 2020. So it sounds like on that part, you and I both are on the same page. I think where I would not necessarily disagree, but maybe try to refocus your thinking is that on the one hand, people who are running in 2020 need to run the best campaigns possible. We've all got to get out and vote. We've got to make sure that there's not this lack of enthusiasm by the left that we're seeing in polls, which might hold down turnout. But the Mueller report does say there is substantial evidence of obstruction on the 14 different obstructive acts that Robert Mueller analyzed. The three requirements to meet the legal definition of obstruction were met in 8 of those 14. So I think it would be wrong to say because it's faster to beat Trump in November of 2020, we should ignore the obstruction part. I think our current elected officials should deal with the obstruction part. And meanwhile, we've got to make sure to go out and vote in November of 2020.
Well, I mean, I kind of see what you're saying there, but it's just the whole Russia narrative. I mean, even you yourself, you've been pushing the whole, okay, well, Donald Trump received help from the Russians here and this and that, but there was no Russian collusion. I mean, I know we still got to wait for, Mueller to testify. Of course,
No, but we don't. I mean, Mueller
I believe
testifying
next
is not
week.
going to shed light. Listen, Eric. I mean, when you, I don't know why you're pulling me into it. I've said find a clip 13 months ago where I said if you're waiting for the reports to say Trump personally colluded with Putin, you're waiting for something that's never going to happen. That doesn't change the fact that the Trump Tower meeting happened, Papadopoulos, all of that stuff took place. What was misguided, if anyone was doing it, was imagining that the results of the Mueller report would be Trump personally colluded with Putin. Anyone who was waiting for that certainly was waiting for something that made no sense. But again, that to me doesn't change. If Mueller says in the report there's substantial evidence of obstruction, unless you believe Mueller is lying, that's a very serious thing.
Well, no. Even when you brought up the Trump Tower meeting, if you even NBC News admitted that you can look this up or Google it or whatever you do. I can't remember the lady's name, the Russian lawyer lady who met. She met with Glenn Simpson of Fusion GPS before and after the John Jr. Trump Tower meeting,
Okay.
and that's well known, documented news. So it seemed like more of like a setup. And then you brought in Papadopoulos.
Hold on, Eric.
It's
What was
known
this? What was the setup? Who was setting who up to do what?
they sent the Russian lawyer into Trump Tower to say, okay, well, we have information on Hillary Clinton or whatever,
They being
and
who?
they sent
They
her
being
in.
who, Eric?
Glenn Simpson is the founder of Fusion GPS, which was hired by Perkins Coie, which is a Democrat Party law firm,
Okay. So what you're
DNC
what
law
you're
firm.
asserting is that offering dirt on Hillary to the Trump campaign was a setup by Democrats to see if they
By the
could get the
DNC, by
meeting.
the DNC. This is well known, documented news.
Okay. All right, Eric. Well, listen, you're going into an area that is a little bit disconnected from reality. So I'm going to let you go, but I appreciate
From
your
your
help
reality.
in sorting this out. But I think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. The obstruction needs to be dealt with, and we got to win in November of 2020.